going on, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. So I've been doing YouTube for almost 6 months now, and it's been a lot of fun. I really appreciate the support that we've gathered so far. Currently, I'm sitting at about 735 subscribers. My goal originally was to have 100 at the end of the year, and I figured if I can convince 100 people to want to subscribe to me in 1 year, that would be an accomplishment, and I'd keep trying this thing. And obviously I found some momentum. It's been a lot of fun. I really love the support, but one of my favorite things about the channel has been the comments. Now, we're all on the internet. We understand that comments range from really positive things to really negative things to just outright outlandish things. And then some people that actually want to talk about whatever topic that they're commenting on. I think we all prefer when that stuff happens, but the ones that are a little more negative and outlandish are usually the funniest and most entertaining ones. So what I'm doing this video is I just want to go through some of my most popular videos and talk about some of the comments that are on there, because some of them do invoke like interesting discussions or things like that. Some of them are just like interesting because they're funny, and some of them are loving and stuff. And so don't take this as like a me hating on any comments or anything like that. Some of it's just used for discussion purposes, but I figured why not recycle my content and how you guys respond to my content and turn it into more content, because YouTube. But yeah, so here's some of the biggest videos that I've put out so far. Feel free to go give these a watch and everything. Again, maybe not crazy views for YouTube standards, but they're good for like me right now. I'm happy with these. This has been a great outlet for me to just talk about basketball and everything since I've stepped away from actual like coaching and everything. So without further ado, I think we're gonna start like here, because I don't think there's many comments on this one. We're gonna start with this PJ Washington traded to Dallas for Grant Williams. Now, one thing you guys will notice, I respond to every comment. I really try to, because I'm very curious at like which point, if I keep growing in YouTube, will I not be able to do that any longer? But we're starting off pretty simple. This is a pretty straightforward video, just talking about the fact that PJ Washington got traded to the Mavericks and everything. It sounds like people were really excited about this move. Excellent job by Nico Harrison. I would agree. I thought Dallas absolutely killed it on the deadline and everything. They got some guys that'll be around for a while. Great comment here by this guy Christian here. I think these trades were great, mainly just for trading first. The people didn't play much that they moved. Yep, all great points and everything. Yep, Mavericks got a great deal. Awesome. Pretty standard stuff, right? Let's move on to the next video and see where this goes. So next up, I've got Toronto Raptors trade for Kelly Olynyk and Ochai Agbaji. And so we got 25 comments on this one. I think that's kind of interesting. So I said I want to hear from both fan bases on this one, especially the Raptors fan. So let's take a look here. So this trade basically was done for Pascal. They got Bruce Brown, New Orleans. I love when people sum things up like this. Olynyk, Agbaji, 2 first-round picks. That's pretty good final haul for Siakam and Porter Jr. Yeah, no, I would tend to agree with that. Yeah, I think, oh yeah, that's exactly what I said. It's not terrible and everything. Like at the end of the day, you got some guys that you can move for other things. They gave Olynyk an extension recently. You guys will see as we go through these comments, I wasn't huge on the idea of bringing in Agbaji, but at least you got a couple picks out of it. And you know what? You got guys like Olynyk, so interesting enough. Apologies, I don't know how to say the name here, but this is actually someone that's saying they like the Agbaji trade, and I don't disagree that people can like that trade or anything. The pick that they traded is true. It would have been towards the end of the draft this year. And yeah, no, they already have a couple picks in the draft. My thought always with the draft is like, I'd rather just pick my own player, right? Like I'd rather pick a guy that I think I can develop and everything. And I like starting off with people that haven't built a lot of NBA habits yet, that I can really, really mold into someone new. We got some other people here. They wanted a backup for Pirtle. That's in the Kelly Olynyk thing. I didn't necessarily understand the fit and everything. I understand that it's not a player that they have, kind of this stretch physical 5 and everything. And I don't know how much the Canadian thing really plays in at the end of the day, but I was glad to see that they're excited about it. People just settling with the fact that like, well, Schroeder didn't want to be here, is what it is. The Dinwiddie trade got me hyped until he got waived. Yeah, that was a tough one. This comment by Desmond or Desnond here, the names that people have on the internet are so interesting to me. He really does a decent job of summing up this trade and everything. Like 29th projected pick, might not be good as Ochai, which like that's so speculative, you know? And that's the thing, like I'd want to see who's available. Like I feel like somebody always falls in the draft and I want to be the one to grab that person, right? Get them for a bargain. Especially when like my whole thing with like Agbaji is like I don't know where his ceiling necessarily is. I'm not too high on him, but the fact is like you've got a bunch of other players that you're trying to develop on this team already. in Toronto, like the RJs and like Bruce Brown, who knows if he's on the team next year, right? But like Scotty Barnes and stuff. And there's other people in these positions that you're trying to bring up. And I don't know what his ceiling can really be on this team. So that's where I had the hesitation. I just didn't think Kelly and him was worth giving up the first round pick. But I'm glad to see that overall, it seemed like Toronto fans, at least the ones that I saw on like the internet and stuff, didn't hate this move. So happy for them at the end of the day. All right, the next video I'm bringing up here is I grade the NBA rookies way too early. I think this was like 15 to 20 games into the NBA season or whatever. And so I did a video just ranking the rookies, you know, typical YouTube clicky stuff, right? I gave everybody a ranking and everything. And so let's go through the comments of this one. First one, Jaime Jaquez deserves more respect. Yep, Jaime wasn't like on the scene too much at that point, and I don't think I even really covered him in here because I mainly just did lottery picks and everything. And the fact that I didn't cover him is completely my bad. Jaime Jaquez has been a astounding player. He's just been so fundamentally sound, and for a time where not a ton of fundamentally sound players are coming into the NBA, I should have given him more credit. You guys were right to pull me out on this one. And I believe even in my replies and everything. Especially after recording that and everything. Another win for Heat culture is so right. This quote, I remember this quote, Brandon Miller has to create everything, even though he's mostly been playing with Melo and scoring off assists with oops and spot ups. Just say you don't watch the games. So I watch a ton of Charlotte games just because I like watching the younger players. I got to tell you, though, the Charlotte Hornets might be my least favorite team to watch outside of like the Chicago Bulls this year. Sorry, I'm a Bulls fan. It hasn't been fun. But so if you look into it, the Charlotte Hornets are actually like the #1 team in like isolation play and everything. And just go like watch their games. They're essentially running like this 4-out 1-in thing that doesn't really work. There's like no off-ball action that happens. We've seen recently that Brandon Miller has started to come on by coming off a couple like down screens and stuff like that where he's popping back up and hitting shots. Brandon Miller's been awesome and everything. Love his game, but no, he hasn't been like getting a ton of help out there. It's just incorrect. Like Charlotte basically just goes into this ISO ball and then passes the ball around into the last second and has to chuck up a shot. It's not good basketball. You guys should go and watch it. I feel bad for Brandon. I believe what I was saying in this video is that like he hasn't had a ton of help, and maybe that's why he hadn't been very successful up to this point. At least at the time of recording this, he's been a lot better now, and they've kind of just been letting him cook a little bit more with LaMelo out. But yeah, there was nobody setting him up for any success on this team. Next comment here. I wish the dude the best, but I honestly never understood the type for Scoot. Not a single player coming out of the G League Ignite has panned out. He's an undersized, I don't really know if I'd call him undersized. I think he's pretty standard size. Super athletic guard that's a poor shooter. We've seen this story before. Guys who are undersized guards could succeed in the NBA 10 to 15 years ago, but in today's, if you're a score-first point guard, you have to be able to be a decent shooter. If not, defenses sag off you. The paint becomes clogged. Yep. We understand it. Flashy dunks make for great highlights, but that type of play style simply isn't viable in the modern NBA for a championship contender. Yeah, no, that's all fair remarks and everything. Like the Ignite hasn't turned anyone into like stars yet. And here's what was interesting about the Ignite at first. I'm like, okay, how is this going to compare to like college? Because college basketball doesn't do a great job of preparing you for the NBA. So I'm like, how's the G League going to do? At least they're around like other pros and stuff. Unfortunately, the G League is kind of just like over-glorified AAU basketball. It's all very guard-oriented. It's all just offensive basketball. It's fast break stuff, chucking up shots. I think we've learned that both of them don't do a great job of prepping it, and I wish the NBA would do something to try and solidify the G League as an actual true developmental league. They used to call it the D League because it was the developmental league, right? And we just don't see that anymore. Like, I don't feel like we're seeing a ton of G League dudes like come up and really make a big difference, and it's because like it doesn't seem like they're really learning it, and I wish some franchises would take the time to actually do that. But as far as like Scoot Henderson goes, like I don't think the type like never works out. I mean, just look at Ja Morant, right? Like Ja Morant's not a great shooter by any means, and he's like found some early success in the NBA. I think more so with Scoot Henderson, the problem is that the paint was already clogged when he got here. I've talked about it a lot on the channel. He's playing with dudes like Anthony Simons and Shaedon Sharpe that want the ball a lot. Brogdon wants the ball a lot. DeAndre Ayton's kind of just sitting in the middle of the court. Jeremy Grant's not exactly an elite floor spacer. Matisse Thybulle's not an elite floor spacer, even though their three-point percentages like aren't terrible or anything. Like nobody's really like being affected by their gravity, if that makes sense, right? And so Scoot's having to operate a little bit different. He has been really good in the pick and roll since like the All-Star break, and even a little bit before the All-Star break, he was getting like I don't even remember the exact statistic, but like 1.2 points per possession when he's like the pick and roll ball handler. So I think Scoot Henderson has enough potential. People get so worried when guys can't shoot right when they get in the NBA. There's dudes that are closing out in their shots so much quicker. They just close them out and quicker in general. People are better defenders. You're shooting from a new three-point line. You're learning a whole new thing. You're learning about new shots that you have to take. I'm just not worried about players' efficiency in their first season. So I'm not ready to rule the dude out by any means, but I do think this guy has some interesting takes though. And this one in particular is my favorite part of the comment. Flashy dunks make for great highlights, but that type of playstyle simply isn't viable in the NBA. This was something I used to say in college all the time when recruiters would recruit these dudes where they see him do a windmill dunk or whatever. I would always say, I'm like, oh yeah, these dudes will cream themselves because they see things like that and they're like, I want that guy. But like, they don't actually understand basketball. And so that's a really interesting point. Sorry, efficiency counts even for rookies. Look at these two lines. I'm going to apologize to you back. No, efficiency matters. But it doesn't, man. They're rookies. Like, give them time. Not everybody comes in and is super dominant right away. You have to give people time to learn. Like, did we all understand math when we started doing it? No, some people do, but others, it takes time. You have to be patient. Development is part of the thing with being a coach and things like that. But this is funny because looking at it right now, although Wemby up incredible length, Holmgren has been the better rookie. Yeah, up to that point, that was probably true. Now, not even close. Wemby is absolutely dominant. He might be... don't quote me, all right? He might be a top 15 player in the NBA. He might be. He might be. If I went and made a list, maybe he doesn't make it, but I think by next year, that's not going to be a crazy thing to say at all. But sorry, Dr. Seuss, I disagree with this. Like, maybe in terms of picking Rookie of the Year, it does, and maybe that's your point more so, but I just disagree that efficiency really matters. I just don't give a shit until, like, towards the end of your second season. Big Jordan Poole fan, can I ask why? Yeah, I am a big Jordan Poole fan, actually, but that's for personal reasons primarily, but I don't need to go into that too much. But I did like his game. Like the Warriors at the time were putting him in more pick and roll situations. He was becoming a better playmaker. Like his shot attempts have always been a little bit crazy, but he's still young at the end of the day. Like there's still time to refine kind of what those are as he finds a more consistent role. And I really thought that in Washington that would happen, but I should have known that Washington was just kind of going to ruin him. At the time of recording this, he's actually been playing a little bit better, literally since he got moved to the bench. But man, no, it does seem like him and like the rest of this Wizards team just checked out before the season even started, man. But it just doesn't seem like there's any discipline on that team at all. So, you know, maybe there should be some reconsidering on my part. Let's take a look at this video now. The San Antonio Spurs perfect offseason, a series I started last week. Actually, at the time of recording this, I just recorded the second part. That went up on Tuesday. For you guys, it's Thursday now, so go watch the Wizards version of that one. But yeah, let's take a look at these. Like, I love the idea. Will you do more of this series? Maybe do the Wizards? There you go. Ask and you shall receive. I read the comments, y'all, and I appreciate comments like this. Now, this video is both me talking like basketball takes and talking about comments, so I know it's kind of just all over the place. But yeah, like I want to touch on this and just say, leave comments like this, y'all. It means a lot to me, and it really helps me come up with what you guys want to see. And I hope that the series performs well. This is a great post, well thought out. Oh, did I not respond to this one? Oh, no, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. Let me respond. All right, there we go. I'm sorry that I really try to hit all of them. I've got notifications on my phone. I actually have one like on my phone right now that I need to reply to, but I'm going to do it. So it looks like we've got a long thread of things here where somebody started off by saying, hey, we take Rasacher, and then with the 7th pick, take Buzelis. I mistakenly didn't include the other pick that the Spurs could potentially have in this draft, and so I guess that's just on me or whatever. But he says he wants to bring Trae Young in the offseason, which is something I went into the video saying I don't want Trae Young on the Spurs in the offseason. We have somebody here asking like, hey, can you kind of tell me why you're not a huge fan of Buzelis? Because I kind of only said that he just doesn't really pass the eye test for me. To elaborate on it, I just don't think that he's like quick enough, and I don't think his handle is very good at all. Like he seems like he dribbles too close to his body and everything, and I feel like come into the NBA where players will actually kind of like get up in your face and defend you a little bit more, I'm not sure he's going to get his shot off. I'm not saying he can't be like a lengthy stretch or something that can't turn into a good 3-and-D at some point, but I think his ability is going to be capped by his athleticism and his lack of ball handling. Now, that could change, because I said similar things about Chet Holmgren. I was like, I don't know how effective he's going to be. Like, he's not just going to be able to dribble in the NBA like this. And for all intents and purposes, he improved that drastically. And that's a big reason why he's been able to succeed so much in this like drive and kick offense that the OKC Thunder run. So things can always happen. He just doesn't pass my eye test right now as someone that I'm all that excited to build around, especially with that slight frame. I don't know. I don't know where to take him. Someone says, I like the idea of Nick Batum on that team. I agree with this completely. Send a Nets version. I'm pretty sure I put this on my list as something to do next week or something like this. I like your thinking. I'm assuming you're working with limited knowledge of the roster, so not a bad job. Ooh, that's an interesting way of starting. Neck rolls for life. Graham's contract is not guaranteed. Cisco will move up from the G League and grab a roster spot as an on-ball guard. I believe Sissoko already has a full contract. Logjam of young players on this roster who aren't going to have time to develop, so there's a good chance a couple might be traded away for a point guard. Maybe not trade, but there's a need for veterans who will play. Yeah, and they'll figure it out. Okay, so maybe this comment was more positive than I initially read. I don't remember every single comment always, but no, this is interesting. And yeah, I think I messed up on like one or two things for the roster with this. So fair enough. Neck rolls. Thank you for calling me out. I always like ones like this. Shout out Cuz. Anyone but Wemby, Sohan, and Vassell can go if it makes the team better. Sohan has been a lot better since moving to the 4. That's correct. I'd love to see them sign Malik Monk. That'd be interesting. I feel like he really likes it in Sacramento, but yeah, that'd be interesting. They need better three-point shooting. That's correct. He's not a starter, but a scorer coming off the bench who can shoot. That's correct. I'd love to see a package for Young or Murray this offseason. We'll see what happens. But I do know the Spurs need to start building now around Wemby. He's ready to win now. This has been an interesting conversation. I don't know why people think like, hey, they got to start like improving and everything like right this moment. Like, yeah, obviously. But like the team got the #1 pick last year for a reason. Like it doesn't all just turn around that quickly. Yes, he would like to start winning basketball games and everything. But like, you got to give these dudes time. It's a lot of young dudes on the team. And I'm not saying they shouldn't like go to make improvements and everything. I think in this video, I'm like, hey, go take a flyer on D'Angelo Russell or something, right? Like that's not going to make them a title contender, but like it's little progressive things, right? You make the right moves at the right time kind of thing, right? Like Denver went and found Aaron Gordon at like the perfect opportunity. Nobody thought that was like an enormous move at the time, but look where it is now. Tommy Song, Spur is suck at defense. That is the main concern. Most of Spur player is very lazy with defense. They let opponent have easy open shot or run into the paint with any challenge. Very interesting. I'm going to assume English isn't your first language, but you know what? I wouldn't call this team lazy. I think they're just young, in all honesty. And so that's how I would look at this team. This was an interesting one to me. In my opinion, the perfect offseason is Rasacher and then trading for Trae Young. This would be the team you'd have. Nice starting 5 and everything. They said we would trade all the Hawks picks and maybe one more and the Raptors pick for Trae Young. That's like 5 first-round picks. That seems kind of crazy. My whole thing with like Trae Young is I don't want to like have one of the focal points of my team someone that can't play like good defense at the end of a game. I know his defense is improving. We've seen the numbers, we've seen the effort and everything, but I don't know. And he's so like isolated with his style of play. Spurs basketball has just never been that way. Like, is he really going to give up the ball to Wemby, which he should, because Wemby would be the best player on that team, and then he's going to move off ball and everything? I've just never seen him do it, and I don't know. I'd love to see an off ball Trae Young, but I don't know. I just don't think the fit works. Oh no, another comment I didn't respond to. Why didn't I see this one? Let me respond to this one. Unless Sochna becomes an average shooter from 3, he needs to go. Jesus Christ, he's in his 2nd season. Calm down. That's why Pop did all this Jeremy point guard experiment, but Sohan is not a very cerebral player. I would disagree with that, man. I think he's a very smart basketball player and a very tough basketball player at that. I think people it takes them time to figure stuff out, but I'll still respond to the comment and everything because I should. Here's a very typical like internet comment. It's been confirmed that the Spurs will heavily pursue Trae this offseason. I'm pretty sure he'll be in San Antonio by the start of next year. What do you mean it's been confirmed? Like, yeah, I'm sure every team would like to have good players and everything, but that doesn't mean it makes sense. Like, I can even talk about from like a business sense, it doesn't make a ton of sense for the Hawks to trade Trae Young to the Spurs, because they went and made the trade with the Spurs originally to get DeJounte Murray, right? They gave him all their assets and everything. So now what? They're going to go back to that same well and sell them back some other stuff and like at like a discount? That just makes them look incompetent as like owners. That feels like a really good way to get fired. But This is just, it's an odd comment, right? It's been confirmed that the Spurs will heavily pursue him this offseason. I don't think anybody like that's like in the front office is saying like, hey, yeah, we're going after Trae Young this offseason. It's like, come on, y'all, like, be smarter on the internet. Oh, here we go from Arter here. You need to watch Spurs games before making videos. Very small point. The Spurs have been my number one team that I've watched on the NBA Game Pass this year, so I am watching the videos, but whatever, right? Your plan is kind of garbage. Okay, do tell. Zach Collins and Keldon Johnson are trash. Zach Collins was really good at the start of the season. Keldon Johnson has scored 20 points per game in the NBA before. Kind of find that hard to believe. D'Lo ain't moving the needle for then. I'm assuming you mean them. Look, again, the point isn't to make this team a contender next year or anything. It's to find improvements, right? There's only so many options at point guard and everything that you can really make next year. I mean, what, you're going to bring in like a Kyle Lowry or something, or like a Monte Morris? Wouldn't you rather have D'Angelo Russell? Like, that's why I think in the video I gave him like a 2-year contract or something like that at a very high salary. It's like, all right, prove yourself over these next couple of years, get your couple paydays, and make this team a little bit better right now. Trae Young plus Sarr and a big wing will be the perfect Spurs offseason. I don't understand like this part of like the comment then. Big wing, who? Who then? Who is that? Right? Like who are we bringing in? I'm confused, right? Like tell me who that is. Yeah, like Trae Young's a great player and everything. I just don't think it's a great fit. And Sarr, I mean, I'm very curious at the idea of Sarr and Wemby. I don't know if it makes the most sense, like just on paper, but I'd be very curious to see it. Yeah, I really don't like this like Zach Collins and Keldon Johnson take. Keldon Johnson's adjusting to a very new role on this team where he's maybe not the go-to guy anymore, which he definitely isn't, but I think it's kind of wrong to call him trash. Like he's very young, he's a very talented basketball player, so you're just incorrect with that, unfortunately. And Zach Collins had a really good start to this year, and then his role changed as well. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't big on Zach Collins at the beginning of the season. I kind of had to do some reflection and be like, hey, what's going on? Because the numbers completely disagree with like my perception of him, and maybe he's coming back down to earth a little bit, but I mean, there were points this year where he was double machine. So I don't know. I don't think we can call him trash because he's had success in the NBA. So I don't know. I'll be curious to see what happens with Zach Collins and everything, but I don't think you can call these dudes trash. That's just wrong. All right, this is the video everyone is probably wanting me to talk about. So a little bit of background. I made this video as an idea of being like, hey, you know, there's a narrative going around right now about Luka Doncic where it's like, hey, does he play bad basketball? Can you actually play winning basketball with how like isolation heavy he is, yada, yada, yada. Go watch the video. You can hear what I'm kind of talking about. And also some people are like, hey, do players really enjoy playing with Luka Doncic? So I had like a title for this video called like, does Luka play bad basketball? Like the answer may surprise you or something like that. And I feel like nobody actually watched the video and I got a lot of hate comments on it. Like, you hate Luka. But nobody actually watches the video because like most of the video is me talking about statistically why it's been working for them. And I know they haven't won in the past like couple games and everything, and that's something we can digest in another video or something. But I just found it kind of funny because like a lot of the points people make in this, I'm also making in the video. But let's read the comments anyway because there's a lot of them. This is an interesting point here, considering the Mavs have been one of the most injured teams in the league with pretty bad backups and everything. I'd say he's been carrying the team pretty hard, and yeah, no, that's what the analytics say. I can confirm that. This is an odd one. Some American players do not accept Luka as a dominant player. That's just, what a weird comment. Like, what kind of inside knowledge do you have about that? And I can promise you, as someone that knows a lot of NBA players, that is not correct. They think he's a bad motherfucker. These were some odd comments too. Some people were really saying it was like a race thing and like a money thing for like Kuzma and everything. And I'm like, I just don't think basketball players and NBA players really give a shit about like your race and everything. Like, yeah, there's stereotypes for everything, but like, I just don't think anybody actually gives a fuck about that. I like this comment here. I think the last 3 games with the new additions and a healthy team is a vision for this team. Basically what they're saying is like adding PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford. Maxi Kleber still plays a lot of minutes for this team, which is kind of odd. But basically he's saying like the ball's swinging around a little bit more and there being a little bit less Luka dominance of the ball is the idea. Luka still has been extremely ball dominant since bringing these dudes in, so I don't think there's been a huge change in their style of play, but I agree. I think they were, with those trades, adding the right types of pieces, guys that can move off the ball and can be successful playing off of Luka in this sense, and in theory be moving the ball around a little bit more themselves, so I think it's a great thing. What you don't seem to understand is this whole with players not wanting to play with him is about race, not basketball. No, I just don't think that's true at all. That's so weird. People can keep pushing this narrative. Players don't want to play with Luka while the Mavs continue to get stronger and stronger. And yeah, they wouldn't want to face him in the playoffs. Good luck with that. Yeah, no, I wouldn't want to play the Mavs in the playoffs either. That makes sense. I love this comment here. I get it. I played in a rec league with guys who have held the ball the whole time. It's not fun. Exactly, and that was kind of my point at the beginning of the video. It's probably not the most fun way to play, but as this guy says, like, look, Kyrie and Luka having the basketball is their best option, and the statistics tell you that's true. And so that's why they're doing it, and that's why it makes sense. So I actually really like this guy's comparison. He's like, look, man, I've played this way. Even in rec ball, it's not fun. I can't imagine it's fun in the NBA either. I really love that. If you've watched Luka's play style in Europe, he plays a significant time off ball and is actually good with it. That's just not statistically true at all. He has the ball probably just as much there. He doesn't play a ton of off ball. You may have seen a couple backdoor cuts or something like that with like Dragic or something like that, but nope, he still has the ball most of the time. I like this one. Despite the title being quite the clickbait, the video is actually quite good. That was the idea with it. Clickbait y'all motherfuckers and then give you a good video. Thank you for seeing it. This is a guy that didn't watch the whole video. I can see why this guy is a former coach. I mean, I am a former coach, but I mean, I turned down the last years of my contract for personal reasons because I wanted to be home more, so don't take anything out of that. And I still consult for a lot of these teams, so just remember that, y'all. That's my little flex there. That's my little flex. One thing is obvious. He does not watch Luka on a nightly basis. Maybe not on a nightly basis, but I'm watching Luka at least 1 to 2 times a week. There's a lot of basketball to be watched. But he's picked poor plays out of thousands. The statistics will tell you the Mavericks are the second most isolation-centric basketball team in the NBA. So, no, teams only run about like 6-7 plays, things like that. The ones that I showed in the video, while I only showed like 4 or 5 of them, like pretty consistently how it goes, man. Like, you can watch highlights of like some of the other dudes on their team. They score the same way most nights. So you've literally watched every full game Luka has played. The former coach has no clue. Luka makes people better. If you would have watched the full video, you would have seen I also say that. So watch the video. Don't just put comments on things. Or actually do. It helps my algorithm a lot. Do make the comments. Do a study on teammates' production, Kyrie versus Luka. Be honest. Period. Whoa. Okay, fair enough. I cannot believe you are a coach in stating that they have been winning with Luka ball. It's obvious you have not been watching the games. Kyrie Irving is the main reason they have been winning, period. Is this? Oh, this is the same guy. Big period guy right here. Kyrie plays team ball and Luka plays Luka ball. I mean, yeah, I'd say Kyrie plays more standard basketball. Without Luka leading the offense, Dallas is so much better, period. Just not statistically correct at all. Like, just look at, literally, there's a simple statistic for this. It's on-off numbers. You're just incorrect. Take the last damn 6 games. Damn, the last damn 6 games. Who has come to the team's rescue? The team as a whole is a plus with Kai and minus with Luka. If you're not going to tell the truth, stop now. Period. I don't know what else to tell you besides you're incorrect. No, Luka's the best player on the team, and they're better with him on the court. I'm sorry. Starting the video off with a false narrative that nobody wants to play with Luka. I mean, I'm not saying it's what I'm saying. I'm saying it's what other people are saying. So, fair. Playing the same way Harden did in a little bit of an error there, but 2017, 2018, laughing my ass off. Buddy, this is not a good way to start off your video. Why? Why not? That's the point of the video. It's a study on this stuff, and like the comparison to Harden is pretty accurate. Like, their numbers are almost identical. Like, I don't know. I feel like that's a fair comparison to do, like, a little study on. But also, Kuzma tweeted about how Mavs were 1 player away before the Gafford trade and then deleted and came up with this blah, 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 blah. That this BS that he turned down the trade. Didn't the Wizards, like, ownership group come out and say that he wanted to stay there? So isn't that true? I don't know. Won't even watch the video. This title is idiotic. I mean, okay, I guess that hurts my retention numbers a little bit, but I'm sorry. All right, let's do one more. Let's do the mid-season NBA mock draft or whatever. This is always an interesting topic and everything. I don't think there's quite as much hate and like this one as maybe like the previous ones or whatever. This should also tell you guys, like, this is just kind of a standard look as to like how much like hate goes into YouTube videos versus love. It's mostly love on videos, but the hate always stands out the most. I'm not gonna lie. Like, as much as I like the love videos, I kind of find the hateful ones a little more funny and a little more entertaining. But please keep giving me whatever feedback you want at the end of the day. That's the point of comments, right? Just to mention that Risacher is what I've been calling him, is spelled Risache. I need to get that down. Risache. I'm gonna do that. See, I like things like this, helping me learn. I'm not the most literate person in the world. I love this take here. The Hornets need Cody Williams instead of Ron Holland. I think actually people are starting to like Cody Williams quite a bit, and they're seeing kind of the calm demeanor that he has while playing basketball, and they're seeing the off-ball skills that he has, but maybe a secondary ball handler is also in his future. He's obviously lengthy, athletic. I feel like he is going to be one of those guys that when he gets to the NBA, that his game is going to expand a little bit more because he'll be playing a more like regulated style of basketball. So I actually like that a lot. I wish the NBA would transfer its height to centimeters. Hey man, coming from an American, you and me both, man. Maybe I'm one of the only Americans that wants that, but I hate our stupid system. Like, what even is this stuff? Well, this is a great conversation I had with, I don't know how to say your name, I apologize, but he was kind of questioning why I wanted Cody Williams on the Grizzlies. Again, talking about Cody Williams, I just said all that stuff about him. The reason I want him on the Grizzlies, I think there's a gap there. I think there's room to be another ball handler, and I think he could develop into that. He brought up some interesting points. He was like, I know you like Gigi Jackson a lot. Like, why don't you think he could be there? Like, why don't you really want Kennard on the team long term? I'm like, I don't know if you need Kennard. Like, his shooting and everything is awesome. He seems like you're paying him quite a bit to just be that shooter, so I don't know how important that is. I think they'd rather have like the roster flexibility in the offseason, but I don't think Gigi's is a good enough like ball handler to move up to like the 3. I think defensively he can guard like 3s and maybe even some 2s, but I think long-term offensively he's going to be best at the 4, so that's kind of why I see Cody Williams doing that. But we had a great conversation here. These are the comments that I really like. I really like when people kind of can go back and forth with me. I love the talk about it. Like bring up other points. Like, let's convince each other of our points. Like, let's have a good debate. I don't even think this one was a debate. I think it was more so question and answer, and then other points being brought up in between. So really loved these comments by the dude RDMD by 1. Don't know what that means, but appreciate the comments. Too obvious that you're not following the Spurs. Sohan is more valuable than Vassell. I mean, I can see that. I'm curious what my reply is. I basically said, like, yeah, no, I'm not saying he isn't valuable. He's a nice defender, improving ball handler, sneaky good shooter in low volume. I look at Vassell. Yeah, basically, I just see a lot more potential in Vassell to kind of be like a primary scorer on this team. Maybe I shouldn't use the term primary scorer, but one of the first or second options on this team, right? I mean, long term, it's probably Wemby as a scorer, right? But I like Vassell's potential. I like Sohan a lot too, though. Don't get me wrong. So I always think it's interesting when comments are so like black and white about things, because I'm not black and white on like really anything. Topic can't even play in EuroLeague and is currently injured, so hell no, he's not going number 2. Probably not right now. He's not. We've only seen him play in like 2 EuroLeague games or whatever. And yeah, I haven't formed a great opinion because there just isn't a ton of film on the kid. Clearly, he's a very smart basketball player. He's very tough, but the shooting hasn't quite been there. I think it showed up for like the 2 EuroLeague games he played in, but I don't know. A lot of people seem to like him, so I'll have to see some more film of him. Oh no, we can finish off with a hate comment. So this is a mock draft, but reaction to or it's not a mock draft, it's a reaction to a mock draft. You're correct. I probably should have titled it better. What makes you think people would be interested in your worthless opinion about a Bleacher Report mock? I guess I don't know, but it's my most viewed video, so clearly some people were. Why you should be interested in my opinion? That I don't completely know. That's up to you to decide, I guess. But I mean, I do have a lot of experience compared to the average person in like professionals, colleges, even in overseas basketball. I have a lot of clients that are overseas. I help teams in like South Africa, EuroLeague, the Australian Basketball League. I've got 2 clients there now that I work with. So I just like to think that my experience in the league, college, and working with other teams gives me some inside knowledge, and I've been a part of conversations that maybe the average person hasn't. And so that's why I like to think that maybe mine's interesting. I remember this guy's reply. If you're gonna, like, I basically said like what I just told you guys, and he kind of comes back with like, hey, look up this dude. He won't disappoint you. Telling it as a ball knower. Shout out guys that know balls, man. Absolutely love it. I did look into the dude. Wasn't like too interested in him, but I appreciate being like, I had never heard of this guy before, so thank you for telling me. This guy said you humbled that guy. He turned nice. I know, it just really threw me off. People are so bipolar on the internet. It's so weird. I don't know. But hey, y'all, that's gonna do it for this one. I had a lot of fun going through these comments and everything. And again, I'll just say I don't hate any comments by any means. I don't really care. Like if people say good, bad things, I just want to hear people's thoughts at the end of the day. So keep commenting. I really appreciate it. Let me know if you like this video. Maybe in another 6 months we'll do another one, and hopefully we'll have more comments to go through. And maybe this is a flop of a video and nobody cares anyway. But I want to try new things because YouTube. But thanks as always for watching, guys. Subscribe, comment, and like. Do things like that. But we'll talk to y'all later. Bye.